Guys, welcome to the Golf Podcast Live. I'm your host, Rafael Calamat, alongside Michael Bleakley, who is not in Vancouver. I'm in Toronto, but he is in Portland, Oregon, for the LIV Tournament Invitation, the first of its kind in the U.S. Welcome to everybody watching and listening on one of our 17 platforms. Mike, welcome to the show.
Good to connect, Raf. Lots to talk about here. It's a pretty exciting event so far. First day was yesterday. I've been here since Tuesday. I caught the Brooks Keopka, Perez and Patrick Reed press conference, and I've been here absorbing as much as I can since then.
Well, that's amazing. I just quick shout out to AR Golf, our new partners, for coming in. Of course, Evolve Digital Solutions, who are our supporter from the beginning, Upper Hand Cards and Collectibles. Guys, this is a pretty exciting week. We've got a number of players playing. It's a brand new format. It's at Pumpkin Ridge Golf Club, and I'm pretty excited. There's teams and players in Portland. This is June 30th to July 2nd. It is Saturday, July 1st, for all our Canadians. Happy Canada Day. Yeah, let's go through these teams. I love these team names. Smash GC with Brooks, Adrian, Richard, and Chase. That's Chase Koepka. Then we got Punch GC, Wade, Matt, Jediah, and Blake. I'm going by first names because the last names, you don't know who they are anyhow. Most of these guys, we don't know who they are, but there are major championship winners. We talked about Niblix. That's McDowell, Swafford. I'll use last names there. Then Travis Smith and James Pyatt. So 12 teams, 4 players on every team. We're going on to the Majestics Golf Club. I love the logos. I love the look to this. I'm just going to run through this as quick as possible. Westwood, Poulter, we know who they am. Sam Horsfield, somewhat of a household name in golf. And then Laurie Cantor. And then we got the High Flyers. High Flyers is Phil Mickelson. Bernd Weisberger. You know, if I butcher any of these names, I apologize. We will get used to saying them. Of course, Matthew Wolf and Idipat Buran Tanyirat,
You
right?
definitely butchered that one.
Yeah, I did a little bit. I'm really sorry. Fireballs GC with Sergio. There's going to be a new team and name and logo to that team. That's Sergio, Abraham Answer, Carlos Ortiz, and Eugenio Lopez Chacara. There's a bunch others. I'm going to go through it in a second, but give me a vibe of what it's like there today and what it feels like with this golf course design.
Well, I'm here early today. There's not a lot of action at the moment, but that's going to change, any time now. I would anticipate the players will be starting to arrive, momentarily. I will head over to the range shortly and try to absorb what I can. But I can tell you from yesterday's experience, the energy picked up a lot. We you could even feel it during the setup days, right? On Tuesday and Wednesday when I got here. It's a little bit different than a PGA Tour event. There seems to be more of a buzz than the tour events. Even some of the crew from Getty Images, said the same thing. That they have a different feel about what's happening here, and the volunteers are all very excited about it. Everyone's pushing the controversy aside and focusing on the golf, which is what we're doing here. Like again, we're not here trying to stir shit up. We just want to check out the golf. We want to see these players up close. We want to see the golf course. And let me talk about the golf course before we go on to anything else. This place is immaculate. It's been closed for 2 weeks prior to the players arriving here. So the fairways are mint. The greens they're very small and undulating. I'm looking forward to getting some feedback from the players on that. When I get a chance to ask them about it, I want to hear their opinions on it because I think the fairways and landing areas are fairly generous, and especially for the accuracy of tour players. But the greens look very small, like they're little postage stamps. So premium on your approach accuracy, and definitely, and they're very undulated. So you've got to get into the right corner to have a birdie putt. Otherwise, you're going to have a breaking putt. So curious to see what the players think about it. But the greens crew have done a great job in preparing this golf course.
Well, that's amazing to hear. I'm just going to fly back to some of these names because we got to get through all of them. This being a shotgun start, pretty
Mm-hmm.
great. I know in college golf they're used to doing this. It's also great that it starts in the afternoon. It becomes prime time,
Mm-hmm.
both on the west and east coast. Everybody finishes at the same time. We don't have the problem with pairings going off either in the morning or afternoon, and then having bad weather. Everybody's playing at the exact same time. I think it's pretty exciting. I remember
Yeah.
watching last week, Mike, when we were watching in London when they were playing a wonderful golf course out there, and
Centurion.
the Centurion. That's right. And it went really smooth. Things went really well. It was fun to watch on YouTube. It was easily accessible. And I guess again, we're not biased. We love golf, and I'm going to watch all the tours, regardless of the political or social state of things. Those things will work in themselves out in court. There's a lot of hypocrisy going on because obviously the PGA Tour has 12 plus partners that do business in Saudi Arabia. And without getting into detail, a lot of these guys are making the jump because they enjoy golf. They want to make a little bit more time on their schedule, and that's a personal
Mm-hmm.
preference and choice. So I'm just going to fire back
It
really
is.
quickly with the names of these teams because I wanted to kind of roll off the tongue a little easier as we go on. Crushers, the biggest move with Bryson DeChambeau being a captain of these teams, with Sean Norris, Justin Harding, and Peter Uihlein being the most notable
Mm-hmm.
in that group. Moving on to my favorite team, just because I love the logo and I'm a fan of Dustin Johnson, Four Aces Golf Club. Now that's Dustin Johnson, Patrick Reed, Taylor Gooch, great player,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
your favorite guy, Pat Perez. Let's wind back up to the first press conference with Pat Perez, because I thought it was pretty
Yes.
entertaining, but they were being extremely truthful about the PGA not hearing them out. Him being a long time, not only journeyman, but PGA Tour member, playing
Yeah.
out there and grinding it out. At his age, it's the perfect scenario.
Well, I agree, and Pat Perez never holds back in an interview, a podcast, or a press conference. So, and he didn't this time. Personally, I enjoyed the press conference because it was a little bit boisterous. There were some comedic moments where they had the media center laughing. There were a few tense moments. There were some media obviously asking them about the controversial topics, and
Mm.
but each of the players made some good points, and they're taking a little bit of a beating from the press because they feel it's scripted, and but really when it comes down to it, Pat said it right. He plays about 33 events a year. He has a lot of costs to get there. You got to think. I'm not sure how many cuts that he's missed during those 33 cuts. We can look back at the data and figure that out. But he's got to cover his way all the way across. He's 46 years old. He knows that the young guns and the new guard and the PGA Tour are extremely talented. So for a guy like him, it makes sense to as a business move to go and jump over and play these events. So you can't blame him for that. This guy, you have no guarantees on what he's going to make on the PGA Tour, and he said it right. Like he missed the birth of his child because of the start of the FedEx Cup. He wasn't
Right.
able to, didn't want to spend 150 grand. I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but he mentioned the cost of a private flight to go catch up at the hospital. So he elected to continue with the playoffs and said that he's going to have to explain that to his son someday.
Yeah.
Why he missed that, and you can imagine to all the parents out there that's big, right? So at the same time, his professional career has afforded him many luxuries that any of us other golfers would be, cut our left finger off to have his career, but it's a sensible move in the state where he is. He's definitely taking some heat for it, but Pat Perez can handle it. He's confident. He's not afraid to speak his mind, and I feel he's been more truthful than some of the other players. Um, you saw yesterday Justin Thomas commented on that he wished the players were more truthful. I mean, you don't get more than that from Pat Perez.
Yeah.
Um, uh, Brooks and Patrick Reed, they had their own comments, relating to more of the schedule, right? And, Brooks has been dealing with injuries for the last couple of years and surgeries, and he's looking forward to a lighter schedule. So next year they've announced 14 events so far. So, that's still a fairly light schedule. And a valid point that they've all made is, if they do have an injury during a season, have to take a month or two off, they fall way behind on money list and potential for playoff berths and all of that. So a lot of these points are sensible. Um, they're being critiqued for maybe not being more forthright with saying, "Hey, I'm doing it for the money," right? Like, um, so so be it. These guys are free enterprises. They can do whatever they want, um, and they're doing that. So, and I suspect there's going to be more players to follow. We got Pat Perez is 3 under, Carlos Ortiz is 5 under, DJ's 4 under. If I tell you, if one of these guys wins this week, their buddies from the PGA Tour are going to be calling them, asking them how it went, and asking for details. We're probably going to see a few more players jump into the fold by the next event at Bedminster.
You know, it's really cool, Mike. Right behind you, you've got all the graphics because you are in the media center. If you're just joining us,
Mm-hmm.
we're live at the LIV Golf event from the media center with Michael Bleakley, and that's in Portland, Oregon at Pumpkin Ridge Golf Club. Look, Mike, there's no doubt that one of the issues is official world golf rankings. I think the guys are worried
100%.
about losing their status possibly on the rankings so they can make President's Cups teams. The obviously the Ryder Cup is a big issue, and then we have
Mm-hmm.
all the majors. Now, so far, the USGA and the RNA are letting the guys who have earned their points to play in the event, and it's sort of building up to the Open. Not only is
Yeah.
Tiger Woods coming back, we're always anticipating and excited about Tiger
Mm-hmm.
Woods coming back and what he's going to do, if he's going to pull off another major, get close to Jack's record. But, outside of that story, we got Phil playing, right, in the same
Yep.
event. You've got the media world coming in on the RNA at St. Andrews, which is the home of golf, basically. And so that's all exciting. This being a 54 hole event, 48 players, it makes it exciting in itself. I just find there's a little bit of irony, Mike, in the fact that there's $20 million on the table now with the PGA Tour coming in with 8 new events. Sounds familiar. So I don't
Mm-hmm.
know who's copying who beat who to the table with this idea, because we know the PGA has been trying to organize some sort of fall series so that the
Mm-hmm.
players aren't playing as much, but they just made it happen so quickly. And I think, this being an event that pushed them into doing so. They wouldn't
Yeah.
do it otherwise. What do you think about the official world golf rankings, as well as the irony in the 8 events that have been announced, in addition to the DP World Tour
Yeah.
teaming up now with the
Well,
PGA Tour,
yeah.
creating some sort of mega tour? Uh,
Yeah, on the irony of all of this, for one, I'm no means do I want to bash the PGA Tour.
no, absolutely
A
not. I
big
love,
fan of their product,
of
right?
course.
But could they not have come up with something more original, right? They basically copied 8 events, similar prize money. They're going to be available to the top 50 players. I really think they could have come up with something more creative to counter what's happening here with LIV Golf. So I'm a bit disappointed on that, right? And competition can be good for any industry.
Yep.
Obviously this comes there's a lot of controversy, and there's a large battle brewing. But I think the PGA Tour could have been a little more creative and come up with something a bit more compelling, not just clone what LIV's doing here. However, that might change as time goes on here, and I hope it does. I would like to see some more creative thoughts coming out of the PGA Tour. Um, but yeah, the irony runs deep. Now the DP World Tour offering PGA spots is something else. I mean, these things I think are good for the game. These wouldn't have happened if Live Golf didn't come around and force the hand. But again, I think more creativity could have happened here. Because we know that the PGA Tour is going to provide the top players in the world. Um, and in terms of world ranking points, um, I'm not sure how this is going to unfold, but I guarantee if we get another dozen players in the top 100 come over and play Live Golf, they're going to have to do something in order to accommodate this because you know too many players out here in the top 100 that they need to be able to get world ranking points. Otherwise, they won't qualify for the majors over time here. Um, so yeah, we're really, time will tell how this unfolds,
Yep.
but at the moment, a lot of things up in the air. So it's going to be lots to talk about over the next few months here while this tour proceeds.
Well, you bring up a very good point. 10 to 15 players, I'm not really sure yet because it's fairly new news. DP top players will have the option to get their card to go play the PGA Tour. I guess all the
Hmm.
players just falling off the PGA Tour, they got to fill those spots up with top players. So
Yeah,
it's a pretty good idea.
yeah,
And then, official world golf ranking points. So here is a little bit of a conflict of interest. Who sits on the board? Jay Monahan, of course. It's
hmm,
not that it's a bad thing, but now, with this feud, because it's not a union of any sort where they're working
yeah,
together. They may very well end up working together, but as of now, it looks like it might be going to court.
yes,
I know there's policies and procedures and things that have been signed for membership. However, they don't have a monopoly. It's a not-for-profit organization, and they do a great job. With everything
yeah,
that they do. But, like you said, competition is good. So why don't they index or handicap the fact that there's only three events, meaning
three
3 days,
rounds.
three
Yeah,
days of competition. That's really the differential, is the fact that they're not playing a full 4 day schedule as they would on all the tours around the world where people do get OWGR points. So give them half the points, give them the opportunity, because there's enough top players there
yeah.
to be able to create some sort of system. At the end,
There's got to be a way.
yeah, at the end of the day, these guys are making their choices because who knows how long their careers are. We've got a lot of young
Yeah,
guys like Pyatt,
yeah,
who's playing. A lot of other Asian Tour players and other players we don't know too much about coming out of college or playing the mini tours. But this is an excellent opportunity for them. You're
yeah.
telling me if I was 21 years old and they offered me up a guaranteed bonus that would take me maybe 15 years to make. I mean, that sets you up for the rest of your career. Whether or not you
Well,
you end
100%.
up getting bumped off, who cares? You play with the best players in the world on one of the greatest news stages that's presented to us, and then they could just go on with their career. Now,
Yeah.
it's just getting into those events because if they get banned, that might be a catch
Yeah.
22. Um,
Well, I saw this morning that players are suing the DP World Tour.
hmm.
12 of them. There's a letter that has been leaked. So the legal challenges are happening. We've talked about it, that it's highly likely that it's going to happen. Right? You look at Phil Mickelson. He's got a lifetime exemption that he's earned. He's paid his dues in the PGA Tour. He's done a lot for that
Yeah,
tour,
for over
and just to
25 years. Think about the
and,
25, the charity
yeah,
work, the way he's built up the tour. He should have, some sort of right or privilege
a
to
hundred
be able
percent.
to do this.
They just cast him aside for this decision, and mind you, he did vocalize his thoughts, and maybe regrettably,
Yeah.
maybe he wishes he kept that quiet to himself, but still, um, that's a sentiment that travels deep on the tour. Like on Wednesday, I had followed. several groups, during their practice round. And not going to mention any names because, again, we're not trying to stir up controversy. But, 6 players, I heard each of these guys talking about their opinions on what's happening with the PGA Tour, and they're angry. Like they're angry, for, like, as Patrick Reed said during the press conference, they don't listen. So, and it's not just Patrick blowing steam; it's all of them. Young players, older players. I overheard it all. I won't quote any of them on this because it's, since that's not what we're about. But there's a sentiment on there, and I have to think, with the PGA Tour membership, that there's more players out there that feel the same and are staying quiet about it. Like, obviously, we hear a lot from Justin Thomas. We hear a lot from Rory, about this, and they're throwing all these guys under the bus. These are guys that they've known and are friends with, and they're casting them aside. So it's quite divisive. And hey, side note, let's not forget Rory. In a way, a big fan of Rory. He's a great place in the game, love it. But who was his key sponsor when he started out here? Jumeirah, right?
Right,
Like,
right.
so
That might that might be
it's
mixed up.
not.
That might be mixed up though with the not with the Saudis. I think more so the
It's the
United
UAE.
UAE, but
Yes,
it is a Middle East
it,
sponsor. But again,
absolutely.
to what you're saying, the Golf Channel, whether it's CBS or all the different sponsors like KPMG, who've dropped people, Phil Mickelson most notably, they all do business there. They all do business Saudi.
100%.
They've aired events where they've made money
Yeah.
from the players and the events being shown both on the LPGA and PGA side. And then there's the whole controversy. Well, why aren't we talking about China and human
Well,
rights
there's
issues? I mean, if we're
an
gonna,
NBA, right? Like,
yeah, why don't we just
absolutely.
unpack everything? And I think that's what's going to happen in court. I
Um,
think we're going to leave it to the legal people not to talk about opinions and hearsay. I'm really tired because I love legacy media too. I love the fact that we use sources and name sources in the past. We're a small
yeah.
independent media company, guys who love golf. We don't even make any money as of yet with what we do, and we love to do it. And this is a great testament to what we're talking about. You're there. You're there covering the event. We're giving news. We're giving somewhat of our opinions, but based on fact, you know. And then we could give our
Hmm.
opinions on what we think, but it's not written in concrete. We're not.
No.
I don't want to throw anybody under the bus, including the PGA Tour, but we're just stating the facts as they come in,
Yeah.
and what we know.
Well, and look at, a couple of weeks ago we had Mark Cicchino on our pod, and prior to that show, I spent 15 minutes looking through the PGA sponsors, and I spot checked 7 of them, and researched who's operating in Saudi. And the 7 that I chose, every single one of them operates in Saudi Arabia. And that's Fortinet, that's 3M, it's John Deere, it's Honda, and a few others that I had on my list. So, I will dive into more research on this. But if the PGA Tour is trying to hold all of these players here uh, a moral compass, that it's really unfair, right? If you look at Formula One, it's got a huge worldwide fan base. They've got a 15-year contract with the Saudi Arabia Grand
Yeah.
Prix. So why aren't these guys? Hang on, here's here's Bella the bot here,
so,
serving drinks in the
so
media center,
right, is that
right?
thing
So
going back and forth? It's sort of like one of
there it
those
goes. It,
vacuums. Right?
it's the
Is it?
hardest working thing in here right now. It goes, starts at 10:30 and it goes all day.
I hear the food is
Um,
pretty good. I think that's why like Alex Maselli and Adam Shipnuck have gone out there because the food and drinks are good. But
I
they're
tell
they're
you, yeah, it is. I would have paid for this food at a restaurant. Every single meal has been fantastic. I don't know who the catering organization is, but yeah, they're taking great care of the media in here. There's plenty of refreshments all day, coffee. There's beer, wine if you want it. I had a fantastic braised beef. yesterday. That absolutely, I would have paid $30 for that in a restaurant, no
I'm
problem.
getting hungry now.
Um,
I'm getting hungry.
yeah, 100%. So right, they are taking good care of the media. As you know from the Canadian Open, that you're left to fend for yourself.
No
But
comment. No comment. They
yeah.
treated me good. They, I had a good time over
um,
at the Canadian Open. The all the people at Golf Canada and the PGA Tour were doing great. Again, it's not to put the PGA Tour down. Things obviously need to change. There's always the argument tradition versus the money and why
yeah,
players made that decision. I love tradition. I love legacy. I love the golf courses. I love, Jack's tournament. I love Pebble Beach. I love, the list goes on and on forever. The
yeah,
players being the flagship event over
100%.
at TPC Sawgrass. Let's not forget TPC Deer Run this week
Yeah,
at for the John Deere. Always one of my favorite tournaments to watch and
yeah,
to look at and to talk about. A lot of great things going on tour. Things are just getting better, I find. And there's
yeah,
just a lot of drama and not enough facts. And
yeah.
I respect the legacy media and their opinions, but we need to start talking about the players, celebrating the games, the courses, the sponsors
Yeah,
involved, and the players, wherever they may be. They've
yeah,
devoted their lives to play a game, and the media makes their livelihood off of them. We had some great guests. We've had Alan Shipnuck, Gary Williams, John Cook, Matt Adams, Vince Cellini, Bob Harrig. These guys love the game. It's hard to get a comment out of them when it comes to saying something negative, because why go there? Why talk about stuff
yeah.
that we can't do anything about? Let's see how it unfolds. Let's enjoy it for what it is.
Hmm. Well, absolutely right. And these guys they all mentioned that this is about growing the game, right? And whether that's a bit of a fabricated answer or not, they do take some heat for that this isn't the way to do it. But let me throw my take on growing the game. Let's go to the shotgun format. Yeah, this isn't a corporate scramble. This is professional golfers playing a shotgun format. All the golf is played in roughly 4.5 hours. Then after that, each night they have an après golf, fed up with music and activities and food and all that. And on Saturday they have a huge concert stage set up here. They basically are turning the driving range into a concert arena, all outdoors.
Very cool.
I don't really know these artists very well. It's not my genre of music, but they are fairly well known. So my thoughts on that are some people are going to come just for the concert,
Yeah,
to see these artists. But then they're going to come here early. They're going to get exposed to some high level golf, especially as the fields improve, because they will improve. And there's potential newcomers who might be able to, view the sport for the first time and say, hey, this was kind of a fun format. And maybe that translates down the line into more people taking up the game, getting out to the driving range
sure.
or getting back onto the golf course. So I think in that perspective, there are some positives. Right, and you got to think, media is going to try to uncover stories. That's what their job is. Their
Yeah.
job is to critique and to question, and that's not going to stop. Every event,
Yeah,
these
but
guys
Mike,
are
let
going to
me
be
ask you
grilled.
this. Since when did everyone become an investigative golf journalist, right? We know that Brandel Chambly has an axe to grind for whatever reason. He wants to report a lot of stuff. I think
Yeah,
a lot of things were made clear. Now, I agree on with some things, but he's just gone overboard. I think it's too biased on one side. No one condones the human atrocities that have happened.
of
But
course. Yeah,
if we're gonna pin it on certain people, then you got to bring names to the forefront. You got to bring, it's not, you can't say the Saudis or the organization. There's 40 million people in Saudi Arabia. So I see this on social media all the time. The Saudis. How do those people feel? I mean,
yeah,
it's the regime, and then there might be certain people that took part in certain things that are going on. But change happens. I'm not going to talk about World War II Germany. I have an Eastern European background. I'm not going to bring up all the atrocities in the world. Do you remember Sun City? when they had that
Yes.
big, largest purse event. That was during apartheid. There was no protests by the PGA Tour or the media. So I just find it,
Hmm.
maybe it's the times we live in. People are a little bit more active and they want to be part of social media. And we've never
Yeah.
had so much social media in our lives. So that being said,
No.
let's throw that aside. I want to get back to the teams because I'm going to ask you a merch question.
Sure.
Because you're out there, you're seeing the merch tent and all of that. I'm going to go back to one of the teams where I'm almost done. We started off early. There's the Cleeks Golf Club. That's
Yeah.
Martin Keimer, Scott Vincent, who I now know who he is. It was really a pleasure to watch him play in London. What a great
Yeah.
player. Ian Snyman and Turk Petit. I don't know who that is. And I
Yes.
apologize if him and his team are watching or view this later. Well, we're learning
Let,
about you guys.
let's hope they are, but we're getting exposed to a lot of up and coming pros here. So let's see how all of this manifests.
We got the Ironheads Golf Club.
Yeah.
Kind of a funny name, but I like it. The logo is very cool. It's three. It looks like three clubs with a line through it. It's Kevin Na, Sadom Keokajana, Pachara Kongowatamai, and Shiwam Kim. Not bad, not bad. Torque GC. Okay,
Hmm.
here I go. I'm gonna give my best. I'm gonna give my
Yeah.
best
Yeah. Good
try.
luck.
Hideto Tanihara, Rishuki Kinoshita, Yuki Inamori, and Jinichiro Kazuma. All right,
Not bad.
I did it.
Not bad.
Yeah. Before I move on to the next one, here's your question on merch. So you go down to the merch tent for the first time. Do they have the T-shirts and the caps? Is it like
They
going
do.
to a merch tent, like not a merch tent, but a merch store for NFL,
Yes.
MLB, or
They do.
NHL?
They have a merch tent. It's a smaller tent. It's not like the merch village that you see at the U.S. Open, or that's like a football field long. It's no doubt, but they've got really good gear. They have all the teams. They've got T-shirts with the logos, and they're fairly cheap. Like from 20 to 35 bucks. For the T-shirts, which is great that it's accessible. And I got to compliment the branding for each of these teams.
Yes.
I think they did a really good job on the logos. They have good quality Galvin green apparel available that's branded with the LIV Golf logo, pullovers and golf shirts and whatnot. So, like I said, there's not, all the other manufacturers are like Adidas, and all the big players are not in there. But
Right.
I've always been a fan of Galvin Green myself. I think they make some and so I think they've done a good job in there. And also, this is the second event, first one in North America. There's going to be a long way to go, right? The galleries are bigger than the chatter you see online. Like I just want to say that there's more people here than what the trolls on social media are saying. And it's slightly different, right? Because it's a shotgun. So people get here early and they hover into the village. They've got like an outdoor bar area set up, and mini putt and interactive stuff. They got a food truck lane. Plus they have food all over the golf course. So you can get what you want here. I don't know what the prices are, but I guarantee it's probably cheaper than the PGA Championship. Um, but yeah, they've done a good job with this, and I think it's all uphill from here. The people that are here are fans. They love the players. Positive feedback for everybody that's wandering around on the course. So yeah, definitely get in and check the merch tents out, and the t-shirts are awesome. Yeah, definitely gotta give credit to that.
Yeah, I'm liking the Aces logo and team. If you could get me a ball marker, a cap, or T-shirt or something, I'd really appreciate
I
it if you
will
get a chance.
100%.
Look, we're going to look at the next team, the Stinger GC, which is Louis Oosthuizen, Charles Schwartzel, our inaugural winner over in London at the Centurion Club, Brandon
Yeah.
Grace, and Henny Duplessis. pretty interesting team. And that's it. I actually got through all the players' names and all the teams. Very cool. It would be very difficult to go through 156 players on the PGA Tour that are playing. So this is a little bit easier to follow, certainly. You were walking around the course, Mike, and you saw a club van. I saw Dan Rappaport put up a photo of the club van, and it says Golf Digest America's number one club fitter, which is kind of ironic because he works for Golf Digest. I think he was trying to make fun of the fact that they only have one club fitting van. But if you think about it, if you're sponsored by a company like Srixon, there might only be 2-3 players out there with Srixon product. I mean, you don't need the vans. And I was at the Canadian Open this year. There's no vans. It's only at the majors or big tournaments where you have the club companies come out. You have a great club fitter. These guys are already tweaked out with their clubs. They get everything done in advance. If they need any kind of help with regripping or reshafting, I mean, that's all you really need. What's your thought?
Well, what do they call them? The tourvan.com. I forget the URL for them, but yes, it's affiliated with Golf Digest. They're busy in there. Like there's been a few players, I saw some regripping going on. But I think you're right. Like these guys are so in tune with their equipment. Everything is custom set for them. Once they get here, they're not doing much. Maybe double check their lies and maybe make some adjustments, for the course, but really they're set. So I think that's ample support for the players. I noticed that they got fresh boxes of Super Stroke grips dropped in yesterday. As I was walking by, they received a delivery of some fresh gear. So they're prepared for whatever might come their way. But really, I would have to think they're pretty quiet in there, right? There's a field of 48. These guys are dialed in. So they probably don't need to go into the tour van very much, but the support is there if they do have an issue, if someone breaks a shaft or whatnot. I did notice Pat Perez swapping shafts on one of his practice rounds. He popped over after 9 and ran back from the van with a shaft. So I'm assuming he was just trying out something different or whatnot, but obviously it worked for him because he's tied third right now. So with Hidetto Tanihara. I think the support's there for them if they need it.
That's very cool. You got the fan village there as well. It's supposedly it's a big area with the food and the festival style atmosphere that you talked about.
That's exactly what it's like.
Yeah, with all the drinks, the opening festivities. They've got the Frog X parachute team. I don't know what that is. There's the shotgun start. I guess it obviously already started 1:15. And there's live music tonight at 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
And
it hasn't started yet. Remember, we're West Coast time here. So,
that's right.
It'll start 4:15 Pacific Standard Time. Yesterday we were, recording a pod. I missed the shotgun start. I ran out and, caught up to it. But today I'm going to be out there to hear the horns go in person, and because it was loud.
They didn't have actual shotguns going off.
No, it wasn't shotguns. It was horns. No, it was not shotguns. So it would have been pretty cool.
You see Greg standing there on the first tee with a 12 gauge. That'd be pretty funny. But hey, we might have planted a seed, and I could see that going off maybe at the final event over at Doral, which has been off the schedule. I'm thrilled to see golf back at Doral in Miami.
Yes.
They're playing for $50 million. People saying there's no incentive. There's prize money. There's team prize money. You're playing for your team, and you don't want to let your teammates down. And this is why they have captains. So the captain dynamic is really interesting. Louis Oosthuizen is a captain. Hidetto Tanihara is a captain. Wade Ormsby is a captain. Don't know who these guys are. So sorry. Phil Mickelson, we know who he is. He's going to be doing a great job. Bryson said he's really excited about being a captain, about the dynamic of having strategy and trying to place yourself not only with points, but for the cash. And we're not talking
Yeah.
about a $20,000 bonus. We're talking about 3 million, 1.5, and $750,000 for the bonus divided
Yeah.
between 4 players. In addition to the individual placing, guaranteed prize money going right down to
Yeah.
about $125,000, even if you shoot 35 over.
Yeah, I overheard DJ and Pat Perez, coming through the flash zone after they signed their cards, and they were all talking about the placement of the team. They're pretty excited. They're 7 under as a team, in the lead right now. So, like going back to the event in London at Centurion with Charles Schwartzel, pulls in 4 million for the win, plus another 750 grand on top for the team prizes, and last place took home 125
Yep.
for his finish in last place, plus being on the third place team, got another 150 grand.
That's
I
not
might
too
have put
shabby.
we've got
Look,
275 grand total for last place.
not too shabby. Mike, talk about how the caddies are taken care of and the players,
Yeah,
and also talk
they are.
about the fact that, how this money and the controversy about it being retroactively taken off the total purse based on your bonus, and how that was false and reported by
Yes,
Brandel and others. Uh,
yes.
Tell us about that.
Absolutely. That was one of the questions brought up here in the Tuesday press conference. And it was also confirmed by the media liaison during the press conference. She corrected the reporter who asked that, and that the prize money is the prize money. It's not drawn off of their signing bonuses. So that is a rumor that was perpetuated. Pat Perez did call out Chambly for stirring that up early in the week,
Okay.
but that's what the facts are, as I've seen them and I've been told from the organizers. Now you have the caddies. They're well taken care of. If anyone follows Kevin Na's caddy, Kenny Harms, on Instagram, he's entertaining, that's for sure. Loves his pizza, for one. Um, uh, but these guys are excited about it. They are paid by LIV Golf, not through the individual player, as they are on the PGA Tour. So the administrative side of things here seem like LIV is taking an initiative to help these players out and pay the caddies directly, right? We heard about Bones not being paid for months from Phil, right? So whether that's just, I'm not going to comment on that. That's, their own business, but LIV is taking care of that stuff. And not only that, they're paying for their managers to come here,
And
which is
coaches
unheard of.
and
And their
and
coaches,
flights and
yes,
hotels. So we're talking about
exactly.
that. We're not talking about a per diem,
No,
$100 a day so you could eat,
yeah,
right?
no, they're covering their accommodations, and it's great to see their managers here, and as well, I ran into Bryson DeChambeau's content team leader yesterday, and he's allowed to film himself here. He's got 3 or 4 people on his content team. I'm assuming they're producing everything for his social media feeds. They, very well organized, and he wasn't allowed to do that on the PGA Tour. So that's one thing this gentleman indicated, that he's got the freedom to do whatever he wants here. And I think that's going to it's just another perk for these guys. We all know what Phil said about their rights to footage and all that, and that's a complex issue on itself.
Yeah.
I do get the fact that PJ Tour pays for all of the infrastructure and logistical setup. That's expensive, so we
Oh
know
yeah,
that.
yeah. Well,
Like the
we talked in detail with Gary Williams about that. He kind of explained it to us that there's no other organization, professional sport organization, that has their full media rights. Or the players don't have
yes,
the rights to that footage. That's understandable. But let's pivot just a little bit and talk about how are these guys going to make money? It doesn't look like they're going to make their money back. I
yeah,
think, starting an inaugural tour on this level, there's no way to, get your money back. However, with the new realm of betting and being
Yeah.
involved on some level with that, with the media rights for actually exposing things, they're not going to make a huge amount off of YouTube, but although it's very accessible, I don't know how they're going to make money there. But possibly through the realm of betting, this
Yeah.
might be really
It could
interesting.
be. It could be. I know. I'm pretty sure it was Dan Rappaport's article that came out yesterday in Golf Digest. Who, obviously, he's a very well-respected journalist and got into some of the facts of that the organizers don't want to lose money for year after year here. They do expect to have a return on their investment, and they're going to
Sure.
be working to do that. But like, so, and some of the chatter that's going around about unlimited blood money, funding this tour is incorrect. They do expect to turn a profit, and obviously, like any business in its infancy, is going to lose money for the first couple of years. But they do intend to fully monetize this, and I suspect the advertisers are going to come. Maybe the TV deal follows. I do think the YouTube production was much better than I anticipated it was going to be.
It's funny you mentioned that. Yeah, the YouTube production itself. Part of me, I don't know why, but part of me wanted the event not to work out. Just because I was such
Yeah.
a PGA Tour fan, right? I'm like, how are they going
Yes.
to pull this off, right? And I'm like, I started watching, I was compelled. I saw twice as much golf. I saw all the
Yeah.
players playing. And that was really interesting. One of the great ideas we talked about yesterday, I want to apologize to everybody. Our sound went down, and so we don't have that podcast up, and this is why we're doing this today. We're trying to go over everything. But imagine every team had their own golf club. You had your own location, right? And you go to those
Yeah.
same locations, like a home team advantage of playing a certain
Yeah.
golf course, and that club, it belongs to those players. And then you've got a team, of other players working their way up, and maybe they'll have four more spots where you could actually work your way up into playing the LIV Golf, like a
Yeah.
qualifier where a floor player team makes it in and gets an opportunity to play with all these players. So
Yeah.
that would be cool too.
Oh, that would be creative, and it would create, that home team buzz, right? Like you see in European football, with the firms they're called,
Yep.
and people get really emotional and in their support for their home clubs. So there's an element there that would be unique if say there's 12 teams. So if we could have 12 or even 14 dedicated golf clubs, because next year there's 14 on the schedule. So each course has its own home team. I think there's some merit there, and it's a good idea. So again, we're going to see how this manifests over time here. I suspect the plan is going to be as fluid as it evolves. They have to be because 48 man field, which it's cool, but I could see this growing to 70 pretty easily.
Yeah.
Right, and I don't know how they go about that and how it would change the team dynamics, but if you get a lot of the top players in the world rankings wanting to come here, say we get another 15 players want to move over here, they have to accommodate, or they have to kick some of the lesser known players out of the
Well,
field.
the only
So
problem is, Mike, it being a shotgun start. We've got 18 holes. If you got three players on every hole, for example, that would turn it into a 54 player field. So
yes,
that's why I'm saying another four players possibly to create a
yeah,
team or a dynamic where a team could come in from the outside and have an
yeah,
opportunity to play with these guys. And so you'd have a possibly like a team owner, right, that has
sure,
coaches and caddies, or a golf club ownership that takes their four players, and there would have to be some sort of playoff building up towards that. But we're talking about fumes here. This doesn't exist.
yeah, no, absolutely, no, we're spitballing for sure. But yeah, it's anything can change. Like I said, I think the league here is fluid. This is just their second event. First one in North America. They're doing 8 globally this year. So yeah, I think anything can happen. From what I've read, we know there's 14 for next year, and I read that they want to have 4 majors attached to this. So yeah, we're going to see how all of this plays out. Um, so yeah, for a golf enthusiast, I think it's exciting. And again, I'm out there, supporting the players, watching the players, getting a chance to be inside the ropes with them, and just being close to it. Like at the moment, because the galleries are a little bit smaller, it's been great because you're intimately close to these players. So yeah, we'll see. I'm a fan of what's going on here, and still always going to be a fan of the PGA Tour. But yeah, no, we're going to be talking about this for a while because we've got 6 more events this year.
Yep. Mike, we're going to wrap things up. My battery's low. I don't know where my charger is. I don't want all this to fall apart. So I just want to thank
Okay.
everybody for watching. I want to say that you could follow us either on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter, and we're going to be posting this. We're on 17 different platforms. So just put in The Golf Podcast Live with Mike and Raf, or Rafael Calumet, or Michael Bleakley, and you'll see one of the platforms that we're on, be it Spotify, YouTube,
Yeah.
FM. There's a number of them, right? There's Podbeam. There's so many different ones. I don't know.
We're on all the major podcast platforms, so check us out. And shouts out to AR Golf,
Yes.
our brand partner, ecsagency.com, our web and content provider. And yeah, check us out. I will be posting on Instagram while I'm out on the course, and sharing with you, Raf. So so keep an eye on social.
Share and
Yeah,
subscribe. Share and subscribe, guys. We're going to be doing giveaways. If you share and subscribe, we're putting you on a list, and we're going to be doing some giveaways. Again, AR Golf's great partner, Tim Petrovich, on the Champions Tour, plays the product. It is outstanding. And Mike, final thoughts and words. Just enjoy your day, have fun, talk to the players, right?
Go out there 100%, and shout out to the country club adjacent boys and the PGA memes crew. Met them out on the course yesterday. Their content is stellar. And I invited the country club adjacent guys to come on the pod. They're a bunch of comedians, actually, so really good guys. So
yep. So stay tuned for some really good episodes. We got a lot of great guests coming up, including Rob Labritz, again in August, having a wonderful tournament. So shout out to Rob for finishing 4th at the USGA Senior Open. Really outstanding. Guys, if you want to get in touch with me, I'm at Vic Hatfield's out in Oakville, Ontario. I'm a golf instructor. You could always get in touch with me there and get some golf lessons. That's what I do full time. And for Michael Bleakley, I'm Rafael Calumet. You've been listening to the Golf Podcast live at the LIV event in Portland, Oregon. Take care.
Hang loose.
I'm going to let this run. Thanks, Mike. It looks really good.